they still lie to God. Because while they outwardly seem to be living the spiritual monastic life, inwardly, nothing has changed. Hi, I'm Brother Francisco Whitaker, and this is All Good in the Brotherhood. Today, for Benedict in Spirituality 101, we are going to be talking about the different kinds of monks. And in a way, what kind of monk are you? So this comes from the first chapter of the Holy Rule, where Benedict talks about 4 kinds of monks: the Cenobites, the anchorites, the sarabaites, and the gyrovagues. The Cenobites are the ones who, they live in community. They're really like the monks you would kind of think of. The monk I am is actually a Cenobitic monk. Live in a community, I follow a rule, I follow an abbot, and through those things come to discover a deeper relationship with Christ. That's what the whole rest of the rule is about, so we're not going to talk about them much today. The second kind are the anchorites, or a more common term that we might understand are hermits, ones who have kind of pulled themselves away from a community so that they can just focus on nothing but their relationship with God. Benedict loves these guys because he says that they are so advanced in the spiritual life that they actually can go from the battle line of being in a community and in a rank of their brothers to single combat in the desert. But he makes it very clear, they're still fighting. They still have to fight the devil. There is no graduation from the spiritual life. There's no graduation from being a monk. It's just that now their relationship with God is so pure, and they have let go of their egoism and their self-desires simply for Christ. And so once they have done that, now they can pursue Christ with no distractions. And even without a community now, because they are so united with Christ that they find true relationship and community with Him. So those are the first 2. And those are the good ones. And maybe, hopefully, we're a little bit of those in our hearts, in our souls. You don't have to be a monk to still kind of be one of these. A better question, instead of what kind of monk would you be, is what kind of Christian are you actually? Are you one who lives in a community and follows the rules of the church and listens to the Pope and bishops? Are you an anchorite who you progress in the spiritual life and maybe you're holier now and you really feel like you can fight with the devil? Maybe. Probably not, though. So you might fall more into one of the other 2, which Benedict calls the sarabaites and the gyrovagues. These unfortunately don't get a very good rap for him. In fact, he's kind of straight up insulting. He calls the sarabaites the most detestable kinds of monks. Now, why does he call them that? Because he says that they are still loyal to the world. That though they look like monks, right, they're wearing the right garb, they cut their hair with the tonsure and the bald spot in the center, that though they have done all those things, they still lie to God. Because while they outwardly seem to be living the spiritual monastic life, inwardly, nothing has changed. They're kind of this a la carte spirituality or morality. What they like, they say, oh, that's good, that's holy, we'll follow those rules. And what they don't, or what's difficult, they say, yeah, screw that, we're not going to follow those. And they don't look any different from the rest of the world, who does basically the same thing. And if you're a monk who doesn't look like you're any different from the world, or maybe more applicably to us, if you're a Christian and don't look really any different from the world, then you're not really a Christian. You're not really a monk. Because Christ says He is the way, the truth, and the life. A way, a truth, and life that is different from the world's way, truth, and life. Right? So Benedict just can't stand these guys, these sarabaites, because they have no obedience to a shepherd. They don't follow anyone except for their own wills. And we do this in the Christian life, right? There are things that the church teaches, or the things about spirituality, or the things about theology, faith, whatever it is that Christ has taught us, or the church has shown us, that we agree with and are great. But then there's ones that they're harder to, or we give ourselves passes on certain sins or certain teachings because they're a little hard, or they're a little strict. Or, well, I mean, those applied back in the 1100s, but for Pete's sakes, this is the 21st century. Teachings about human sexuality, marriage, Those are seemingly hot debate topics, right? But are they really up for debate? Or obligations we have to go to Mass, or to fast during Lent, holy days of obligation. Or a vice that a lot of people just kind of ignore is excessive drinking. It's kind of almost a Catholic accepted vice sometimes, and it's very strange. So are we willing to choose and shop our Catholicism, or are we willing to listen? And then these other groups he talks about are called the gyrovagues. And he says that in ways they're actually even worse than these sarabite monks, because they never settle down. They move from place to place. They're slaves to their own wills. And he can't stand them because they have no stability. They have no community. And for monks, for us to grow in holiness, for Christians to grow in holiness, we need both of those things, stability and community. Stability, to be in one place, grounded, rooted. I take a vow of stability to be grounded in this monastery, St. Vincent, with this community, so that a lot of other things in the world that could go awry or that I might distract myself with are taken care of because I'm here. I've set a rock so that now I can deal with those rough things in my life, those struggles I have, addictions that I'm recovering for, traumas, sins that I struggle with, personality problems that I need to grow out of. All of those things can be taken care of if we're stable. And if we have the support of a community who both encourages us with love and support, but also calls us out when we're slipping away. That's why the early church was in a community and was founded in a stable liturgy, if you want to call it, right? Going to prayer at the temple, praying together, feasting. They were stable in a community. It's so that they don't, like we will do in the modern world, be distracted by everything so that we don't settle down. We're constantly moving from avoiding feelings like loneliness, isolation, recognizing our own sinfulness, feeling unlovable. We want to avoid those feelings so we distract ourselves. And internally, we become gyrovagues, hopping from one thing to another so we never have to settle down and face who we are. So to think today a little bit about making Benedictine monasticism part of your life, how do we counter these things? First, how do we counter being a sarabite? We come to know and obey and listen to the church's teachings and what Christ has taught us. How do we avoid being a gyrovague? We find stability and we find community. All of these problems of this internal conflict about what Christian should you be and what Christian are you actually are solved in relationship. So thank you for joining me today for All Good in the Brotherhood's Benedictine Spirituality 101. I am Brother Francisco. Have a good day, and God bless.